I mean, yesterday we've seen a Lufel single-handedly almost dismantling KT on that Thrall to the point where it was even picked away. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Thrall receives a little bit of a higher priority by TheOne, either by receiving a third ban, for example, or maybe Hugo picks it away as well, because he too can play Thrall very well. It's just that Soap was on a different level today. And we mentioned his career, right? Turning from player manager into pro player himself. Super cool to see that he is now actually one of the, if not the most important pillar for SPT to do well.
And we're now heading to a map that SPT does do well on. It is the Dragonshire. They did, however, suffer a defeat to CE on this map yesterday. Let's see if they're able to bring it back this time.
Yeah, no longer is SPT like a, or Dragonshire like an auto win for SPT. They have certainly shown signs of weakness on this battleground. That is a Phoenix ban.
It is. Very curious. Think they're playing against CE or RPG.
Who always seem to rely on Phoenix, that is true. Especially for RPG, man. When Pa wasn't on that hero, they couldn't really get anything done.
There's the Tyrande first pick, sorry, by TheOne, with Deckard still available. This is fine. Tyranda's one of the few heroes that sort of can fit well against the Deckard Kayn. But it is picked up very early by SPT.
Diablo's still available.
Garrosh. It is, but Garrosh Deckard is still such a good combo. I don't threat this, but like you mentioned, Diablo plus Tyrande is also a brilliant combo.
We have seen the value of Diablo Tyrande yesterday and the day before by KT. Such a strong combo, especially on Monday. Timeless and his boys, they were just wrecking faces left, right, and center with it. But they go for the Anubarak, so still a source of stuns. Still a very aggressive hero, frontliner that Tyrande can capitalize on. But still no Diablo. And I think SPT knows something that we don't. Hugo really seems to have played a lot of Illidan as of late, so they ban it away every single time.
Makes sense indeed, but it also made sense with that Cassia on the board.
True.
Like you said, the lines would have been great against Illidan, steal it away, you enable it, but it does open up pretty much everything else Hugo plays, so he is still going to be fine playing like the Thrall if he wants to bring that out again, for example, if he wants to steal that away from SPT, if they don't pick it up immediately.
All right, Lucky Man, we totally forgot about him in that last game on that Junkrat, causing so much damage with those grenade flurries, if you will, just unleashing salvo after salvo and really keeping Murden especially at bay. So they say, you know what, we don't want all that mayhem in our games anymore. We take that guy out and allow Hugo to engage a little more freely.
Dahaka comes in here, so giving themselves some global potential and stealing away the potential Kieshi Hanzo, so makes a lot of sense here, gives them that global potential as well, that rotation style that we have seen before. With your Rel banned out, we're looking at like Malthaels or the Yoriks as heroes who can lane effectively into Dahaka. The role lanes pretty evenly, but we're going to stick with Hugo's Malthael.
Yeah, he was like, oh, you guys require the service of my Malthael? Oh, hell yeah. I won't probably get asked twice about it. As you said, Malthael really good. Can't shut down the global, unfortunately, so if Dahaka were to burrow, Malthael, for example, doesn't have a stun or a root to keep it frozen in place. So, but he can definitely bully him in health before. So, right, if you bring, let's say, a Dahaka down to 30%, 20%, he's definitely going to think twice about burrowing to his team's side in a team fight.
And the Jaina on the board as well. This causes a Falstad reaction from SPT. Risky call here, but it gives them the double global, the potential to turn any 1 versus 1 into a 3 versus 1 at any moment.
They didn't consider the Li Ming. She was available. She would have been a great cocoon counter as well, you know, with that disintegrate. Just slice those cocoons open. But I think Falstad also offers some counterplay to the cocoon if he's not the target in it. When there's a target in the cocoon and the one is already, you know, gearing up, cuddling up near that cocoon, he can just gust everybody away and wait for the target to get freed normally without any follow-up stuns, right? So there's definitely a lot of merit, a lot of advantages from having a Falstad in your team. But yesterday, KT, sorry, was it CE? No, I think CE tried it. Yeah, CE tried it.
Sure.
I'm not so sure. It was picked once yesterday, but it got punished so heavily. Or was it on Monday? I think the A-Team, yeah. In their final game, the A-Team tried Falstad, and they got shut down so hard.
Yeah, the Falstad, we've always had concerns about it with the current meta, just due to how vulnerable it is to
squishy,
burst.
not enough damage.
Yeah. Exactly, but it can get up to really crazy amounts of damage, and of course Gust is still a fantastic ability in general and seems to be what people still go for due to its playmaking potential. But yeah, that is the false set is vulnerable to those hard engaged styles, and with a Nubrak on the other side, I'm a little nervous, but I always gotta love double globals. The potential for plays is really cool.
Especially when you're a team as well coordinated as SPT, right? They have shown us some great team fight synergy, some impeccable timing on map number 1. Can they repeat that success, ladies and gentlemen? Can they pull ahead with a 2-0, or is the one going to equalize the score to a 1-1? It is now time for Dragonshire on the left-hand side. Once again, the men in blue, the one desperately trying to get a win under their belt with Hugo, Keshi, Meng, ZJZ, and Huhua.
And on the right, it is Super Perfect Team, looking for a 2-0 in this best of 5. Lucky, Melody C, Misaka, Soap, and ZZH.
Tetcher, what is your take on Falstead here? What build do you think we can expect? He hasn't chosen level 1 yet.
I would hope Q build. It's going to give him the. It's going to keep him safer because he's going to be able to stay further away from the fight. There it is, the Gathering Storm coming in here. Now the idea behind this is basically to just stay back, because if you get dived by a noob, there's a Jaina, Tyrande, and potentially Last Right's follow-up, you will die. So going for auto attacks and having to land stutter stepping makes you far easier to predict and hit. Relying on a single burst with the Q, it's a little less effective against a Nubarak. But Tyrande did not go for the Caldera resistance.
True, very good point.
You're still going to gain value there, and you're also going to keep yourself safer because you're going to be on the move even more.
And most importantly, you're not susceptible to the blinds by Cassia, right? You can actually hit her hard with your own ability damage. So double the value actually for Falstead, who does go for that hammering oriented burst build. Now, speaking of which, in that middle lane, Falstead always needs to be super careful. All it takes is one stun by a Nubarak, and then Tyrande, when she's nearby, and Jaina, they will blow things up. And the, tank Tyrande plus Jaina combo is something we've seen many times successfully executed yesterday. So much burst, so much lockdown.
With mercenary camps being picked up by the one nice and quickly. The quick reaction from SPT is to start their own Siege Giant camps. They have Hanzo. He doesn't have the PvE talents yet, though, so he does need assistance, which is why Deckard is here with him. But Keshi being very sensible, not letting not attacking any of the minions, trying to let them die on their own. Unfortunately, this is going to be thwarted a little due to the arrival of Garrosh, preventing any of that XP being lost.
I haven't actually talked about this too much, but it's a little bit of a grudge match, too. Whenever those two teams meet, we need to talk a little bit about Lucky as well, because he, for the longest time in his career in HGC China, used to be a part of the one. And only in the beginning of 2018 did he decide it was time for a team swap and left the one, joined SPT. So facing his former teammates, always a special occasion.
No, it is. It's always cool to see. It's like anytime RPG play against BTG, for example, with Locktar, or RPG play against KT with Timeless. Good Burrow, dodging the Impale,
really nice.
And Soap sneaks away. Quick, cheeky move there. There's a toss away by Misaka with that Wrecking Ball as they realized they were outnumbered, and they're able to stay going here.
And look at that, they defended both towers, not really sacrificing anything in the top lane. Great peeling, great defensive play by SPT. They're withstanding and holding against all that pressure. And on the flip side, on the bottom half of the map, look at what they are achieving with those Siege Giants and Hanzo's superior range. Speaking of Hanzo, he's revealed by the Owl, tries to jump over the wall and dodges the Impale. Nice reaction by Lucky.
Right now, that's going to cause the neutralization of the objective, that dragon statue. The Moon Shrine is captured by the one. SPT still heavily control top lane, though, with their two members up here. Both of their globals sitting in this top lane, ready to rotate at a moment's notice.
You know how long it took me to realize until it was actually, aware of that there is a moon and a sun shrine? To me, it was always just like two shrines, and never even paid attention to the symbols. Probably took me like 2 years at least.
Yeah, no, they're labeled. They always have been. Dear. But it's fine. It's understandable. Like some people apparently still didn't know about the markings on Towers of Doom that showed you how many bell towers your team had on every altar.
Oh, really? No, I knew about it, but I wasn't aware that people didn't know.
Yeah, a lot of people did. A lot of people don't know. Like when they when Deluxe like released that like inside HGC thing where they was like quizzing players and was like, "What do these mean?" And players were like, "Oh."
I'm looking at Twitch right now, you know, acting cool, like I certainly knew about this, but deep inside they're like, "Oh, really? Cool. I need to check that."
Yeah. No, there's a little lights underneath the shrine, whereas on this one you can just see they have a moon and a sun, and they fend coming in onto Deckard Cain, but he's staying alive, and Keshi is bitten off far more than he can chew. He will go down, and Nubarak doesn't want to be here either, will immediately tunnel away, but might still get caught out as Garrosh gives chase.
The Scroll of Sealing not landing here, but they need to turn around anyway, SPT that is, because they still have a mercenary camp to defend here. But yeah, great pickup onto Keshi on the Cassia. Hanzo can actually be very lethal in those choke points against Cassia, because you might think, you know, his auto attacks hit pretty hard, so Cassia shouldn't worry about it, but in those choke points, those scatter shots, they're all going to land, and it's so much ability damage for a Cassia to resist.
So, bottom Moon Shrine once again in favor of SPT. We see the focus being put onto that top Sun Shrine by TheOne. They're going to try and gank Burly C here. Where's Barrel Roll? It's available and he gets the shield. That might save him from the Rebus mark. It does. Last tick just before the shield expired. And that is going to be Falstad getting away with it.
And whenever a global hero like Falstad, you know, escapes from death, it's super frustrating because you know he's going to teleport and you know he's going to be back immediately with his flight. So look at that. There he goes. The Birdman is back. Can they make something happen here right now? It's a 3 versus 3 skirmish. Doesn't really matter anymore because top lane was captured back by Dehaka.
He does indeed, keeps control of that, but once again, with bot under the control of TheOne, it all neutralizes once again. Hanzo and Cassia are actually having a little bit of a fight down in the bot lane, but it's going to be Cassia losing due to the arrival of Deckard Cain.
Oh, and they get the kill. Unfortunately, not on camera, but we can all imagine how that went. We talked about scatter shots and the choke point. Strong damage coming in from Lucky, who's actually dominating in both games. We've seen him today. He's showing up big time, you know, previously on the Junkrat, dealing tons of damage, and even now doing the same stuff on that Hanzo. His trademark hero, by the way, that's the most comfortable hero he's got in his arsenal. He gets another one! Next one, please.
Does indeed. Suddenly Lucky giving so many advantages to his team as we see Melody C attacking this. A beautiful Dragon Arrow. Lucky, are you serious right now? They get a third kill, all thanks to Lucky's Dragon Arrow, and they pick up the Dragon Knight. Now, Lucky will even escape with everything in hand. He is holding down that bot lane and continues to push as a Nubarak has to make the decision between stopping Lucky's push and maybe trying to punish him or helping deal with this Dragon Knight.
Absolutely amazing. If SPT wins this game, and at the moment it looks very much like it, I mean, just for that move, just for that big swing in momentum, Lucky has to become the MVP, killing 2 people. Okay, he did have a little bit of help from Deckard Cain, but who cares? It's kills nonetheless. And then landing that half-map Dragon's Arrow to get another kill, making it a triple, and securing a Dragon Knight, snowballing away with a 1-level lead now. Just such a big move by SPT's latest acquisition, the ranged assassin Lucky Man. What a guy. Living up true to his name, actually.
He is doing such a good job right now. With Hinterland Blast now online, they have even more burst potential. I like this again. It keeps them at range. It allows Falstad to stay with this burst style he's gone for. And look at the protection. There's no spell armor. The healing of Tyrande takes consistent time. It's not burst healing, even with that Shadow Stalk. Yeah. This could be the absolute perfect pick here for Falstad. This is what Tyrande, outside of that spell shield, which he didn't take, could be vulnerable to.
Here goes Misaka trying to land a cheeky toss onto Huhu. Keep in mind, he doesn't have his Burrow Charge now anymore. Had to use it earlier. But yeah, Hinterland's Blast, as you said, it can be such an underrated heroic ability, can't it? I mean, it always comes down to finding that locked-on target, and especially Cassia. You know, all of a sudden needs to play so carefully.
Yeah. I really like that they did go for that cleanse coming in from that level 1 Tyrande talent, because there is Groundbreaker, there is Drag, there is Isolation, there is Dragon Arrow,
Dragon's
all
Arrow,
these things it affects. But right now, the fact that SPT are adjusting their composition so much with Hinterland and with Q-Build Falstad is so telling of how comfortable they already are with this new Tyrande. They're the only team to even try adjusting their style like this to try and play around it.
Looks like Lucky did have a little bit of a disconnect. I don't speak or read or you know, understand Mandarin, but it looked like there was a disconnect happening. So we're going to wait until he's back in the game, and then we should resume it. Normally it doesn't take very long, you know, admin's just taking a look at it, so there's no nothing drastic going on or anything, so yeah. But what we can say up to this point already in this game is, Tetra, that SPT is in full control up to this point. TheOne, however, they do have so many tools that can really swing momentum back in their favor, right? All it takes is one good catch with a Cocoon, for example. All it takes is one good last rights on a previously weakened target. And Tyrande, we have seen her strength many times in the past. You can never count her out.
You can absolutely not. She can be a great follow-up to a high CC comp, which is exactly what Anub'arak offers. And with those level 10s, with last rights, with Tyrande, with Jaina, the burst potential of TheOne is crazy. But they need to be able to actually get those fights and not get picked off one at a time, as just happened.
And this is so difficult for them because they have, or they're facing double global. So SPT have done a really good job actually, you know, spreading themselves out around the map, providing enough vision on all the lanes to always, you know, to know where TheOne, who are having a much more gank heavy, a much more team fight oriented comp, where they're going to hit from. And as long as you have double globals ready, you can always just, you know, sneak away, keep control of one shrine so the enemy doesn't get it. And they're out-soaking them. They're actually outsmarting them at the moment. So TheOne, they're going to have to find a good engage relatively soon. Because unlike the first game, Tetra, I think they're not really having that late game bonus anymore. They don't have those hard-carrying heroes like a Kel'Thuz or a Nazeebo.
Yeah, their comp just is already online. Simple as that. Level 10 is where they get those big bursts and they need to start making stuff happening, like you say, before they fall too far behind and before they lose too many structures. Everyone is a target here. Even Garrosh with last rights online, if they can just get through that first chunk of health, that last rights will be able to finish the job. But they have to be able to get there. And as such, they have to group up and they have to start making the calls and making the plays.
Yeah, yesterday I actually had a game of Tyrande myself in Hero League playing versus a Garrosh, and that Hunter's Mark can actually mess up a lot of momentum that Garrosh players think they have. You know, when they are high on armor, they've got 30 armor, 25 armor. You can actually lower that and minimize it to 0 almost for a short period of time, which is enough time for someone like, let's say, Jaina to then inflict crucifying damage onto Garrosh. So, yeah, let's see if they can actually execute it. It all comes down to that. Hopefully our pause is not going to be a too long one. Once again, as a reminder, guys, after this series, which will determine who goes to BlizzCon next to BTG, we're going to have a little standoff, a little bit of a show match between casters and pro players. And Techa, I heard, rumor has it, that there's going to be triple damage active in that game. I'm not sure if that's triple damage for both teams or just for the casters, which would be hilarious.
I would hope for both teams. It certainly gives the casters a chance because obviously biased is going to be quite a bit towards the players there because, well, they're professionals. But let's be honest though, one of the casters is an ex-professional.
That is true. Mafuo used to play for KT back in his days. He was their support player in 2017. Let's see if he's still got what it takes. Used to be an Uther one trick, by the way. Not so sure if he's going to get away with that one right now.
Yeah, that's true. And Nova, for example, Nova, in fact, very popular streamers in HGC China.
They play a lot
China
of heroes
as well. They play a lot of heroes. They just play a lot. They have a lot of experience. As the Cocoon is dropped onto Falstad, there's no Gust, so Falstad, he is the burst target. And there's stealth
my God.
Arrow though, and Melody C turns around, hinterland blast, only catches EJZ, but Hanzo is taken out by Cassia off to the side, but down goes Malthael as well. Beautiful scroll of sealing onto Meng, but now they're turning it around. The Indomitable keeping Misaka alive for the moment, but the stun with the knock-up. Lunar Flare does not land as Misaka is tanking through this due to the shields of Decade K.
Okay. Like, looking at this team fight and how it started, I thought it was a clear win for TheOne. But they turned it around with a nice 3-man Dragon's Era by Lucky yet again. He gave his life in the process. Cassia actually blew him up. But boy, oh boy, was that worth it. It was even a 1-for-1 trade. Malthael couldn't survive either. Looks like Keshi himself is now in trouble. Gets rooted, gets tossed over, but not enough damage to blow up Cassia.
And with that, Cassia able to pull back nice and safe. The Zerg versus Beetle fight up in top lane. Good drag from over the point. And that's going to be Huhu dropping very low. They're trying to bait him in so Men could get the kill. But too many reinforcements arrive for Super Perfect Team.
And the two shrines are back in SPT's control. Lucky's not brave enough to try something here. Soap miscalculating the flight path up. Tyrande slows her down with the isolation. Dragon's Arrow coming through again. And Tyrande is probably going to say goodbye. No, the Quickening Blessing actually saving her. Level 13 value, baby.
Level 13, indeed, and with now that Dragonite on board, the fact that you have everyone alive to try and defend it is such a big deal. So good job there by Tyrande to keep everyone alive. But now, Dragonite online, top lane probably soon to not be.
Yep, I mean, that is still a pretty hefty blow that the one have to suffer from, right? With that Dragon Knight now opening up the lane in the top lane as well, giving even more experience over Huohuo. Careful, there goes the taunt, there goes the burst, and down goes the Beetle.
That's pretty bad news here, as with Anubarak down, they have no counter-engage even after this Dragonite expires, as they creep forward with Hinterland taking out Cassia. And this is a bridge of death push being used to the advantage of SPT, taking advantage of its choke point themselves.
Yeah, really good observation there, Tetris. Sometimes, you know, you normally don't want to be aggressive or engaging on that bridge, as you said, but sometimes when there's someone running away from you, you actually have a wonderful time aiming your abilities, and man, that was a golden snipe by Melody C. The DPS, the damage players, the assassin players of SPT in general, both Lucky and Melody C, are showing up big time today.
That they are looking so good right now. And with that, we see the quick cleanup by SPT onto these Siege Giant camps. They want even more pressure now onto bot lane, as this is the easiest lane to push and end the game with. As Misaka just waits for Huhu to overextend, but he does not this time.
Falset is trying to get the second mercenary camp. Of course, it will be arriving super late here, but it will arrive nonetheless, and maybe if they find another cheeky kill, keep in mind, the one doesn't have 16 yet, they can really capitalize on it. Lornado not in time, not really hitting yet. Keshi, though, needs to be careful. Gets dropped to 50. Is he going to fall, though? Takes a big dragon arrow to the face, and already has to probably disengage out of this team fight.
Quick into the fray, keeping Lucky safe. Keshi, like you said, already porting back to base. Doesn't want to get himself blown up again, and will safely be able to do so. Dahaka saves top lane, so there is still a fort up there for SPT, despite how low it is.
Man, that piercing arrows is so huge on Lucky right now. The 16 talent, right? Did you see that explosive damage with just one Stormbow? Yeah. It's insane. I'm not sure if Dahaka has his Brushstalker at the moment. I think he used it to get to the top lane in the first place, so good disengage, wise choice by SPT, because this is where the one really wants to fight. This is the last chance they will probably get to fight on even terms, right? If the experience gap continues to grow for SPT, they're going to have level 20s first. Misaka in no man's land needs to be careful that he doesn't get popped, and he does get popped. A big turnaround from Melody C, though.
Oh my god, the huge Hinterland blast. They begin to push forward, looking for more isolation, and the huge boomerang coming in, but Tyrande barely survives. The rest of her team, though, not so lucky. Huhu sneaks off to the side.
Tetcher, did we mention anything of the sorts of, you know, Falsa not having enough damage? Did we really just claim that before the game started?
I mean, with this build, we've had issues with sustained build Tyrande having potential difficulties, but not in this case at all, my friend.
All right, Decker Kane in the cocoon. Can't really save himself nor Lucky up to this point, but they won't be able to pop him up, and that is huge. So much time already wasted, and the Dragon Knight is marching towards the bottom lane, trying to finish the job. That is most certainly going to be a keep, right? Garrosh only now respawning. Falset should have the global up, so I think that should be safe to take.
I think you are probably right. They move forward. There's a Hunter's Mark just to give Jaina a little bit of extra burst damage. Steps out of the Blizzard, though, and keeps the pressure on. Dragon Knight actually being dropped very quickly, burning some time on that punt, but they will still probably get this keep, easily able to take that down, but there's going to be no chance at a core attempt unless they can pick up a kill.
Yeah, they're not 20 yet. They really want to have that Storm Tier talent advantage, of course. Minus armor now from that Hunter's Mark onto Garrosh. Needs to run to safety. Here comes the Shadow Stalk, is the one trying to make something happen. 20 is so close. They need to find that engage, and they need to find it now.
They move forward. There's a good little Hammerang coming in there. Misaka pulling back. Doesn't burn Indomitable yet, being quite patient with this.
20's still not there. It's so close for SPT. They can almost feel it, and there it is. Can they turn it around? Dragon's Arrow's ready. They could use it to catch someone. Here comes Dahaka with another flank, giving vision.
Creep forward, Dragon Arrow only hits a Nubarak as they creep forward, looking for their opportunity with that level 20. Dahaka taking huge damage, good stun, preventing him from burrowing, but Keshi is low. Great Titanic by the three-man taunt. Cassia still tanking through this, though. Cassia's doing a huge job. It's a 2 for 0 right now in favor of the one as they creep back forward. Hits and just missing everyone but Hugo, who was able to tank through it. And the one are living on a prayer right now, dropping down to low health, but surviving every single time.
I can't believe how low they are all. Look at that. Taranda's out of mana. She can't heal them up anymore. And somehow SPT is still fighting in this 3 versus 5 decker. K needs to stay close and keep Boston alive. He does so.
Quick blow up onto Taranda, though. That's going to remove the healing. Keshi with the flank, though. Quick blow up with the Surge of Light. CCH bops him on the way out. Anti-heal applied. He goes down. Misaka, the only survivor and the one, keep themselves in this game.
What a massacre. What a bloodbath this is. And now Garrosh, the only survivor for SPT in that cocoon, will get stunned, will get follow-up damages on, and Hugo gets that kill pretty easy. It was a 5-man team wipe there at the end. But what a fight that was in the to begin with. Holy smokes.
Nicely done. Oh my god, the one turning up right now. Just holding this point right now as Hugo is going to grab this mercenary cap. And Nubarak makes absolutely sure they grab one of these shrines, but they need to get to top lane. They need to get this because a Dragon Knight right now would give them so much potential to try and get stuff back. But more importantly, denying it to the one is going to, denying it to SPT is going to be such a big deal.
The one, they need to continue up with that high pressure game. I mean, eventually, if they take too long, the double global, I think, is going to be a thorn in their sides. The bottom lane is already open. Top lane has been weakened already. But even with that 5-man team wipe, they're still not level 20. They're still not really able to kill any of those forts. And even with that Dragon Knight going through, which is huge for them, they're still going to have to surpass all those defenses here. It's going to be a long road, but they're taking the first necessary steps. And here goes another replay of that teamfight, Tetcher.
Look at this. Here's where it starts to go wrong. Soap gets hit by that Lunar Flare, preventing him from burrowing and dodging the last rites. That's what blows him up so quickly. Now we have Misaka with a beautiful 3-man taunt. He himself unable to get the final kills because ZZH was getting zoned out, as was Melody C, so they couldn't get that final damage.
Yeah, the first Hinterlands blast on Melody C was actually interrupted, so he didn't have the full burst damage in that team fight. He was a little too close to a Nubarak, so that was a little unfortunate, and I'm not sure if he used it again in that team fight that ensued after, but he couldn't actually use it very efficiently in that fight. Look at that. The keep is still standing. The towers are gone, though. Jaina inside the Dragon Knight. It gets pretty much burst down, focused down pretty nicely here. The cocoon is just a distraction, so they can reinitiate and get a grip on someone.
Still pretty impressive, able to do that much damage so quickly, though, but the Dragon Knight will now be forced to pull back. With level 20, though, this was the main idea. Now online for the one. We've got that extra attack. We've got that Lunar Flare auto attacks from Taranda. Rewind for the Nubarak. That's going to be so clutch at allowing them to zone out. Malthael holding his level 20 for the moment.
I think he will decide what to go for depending on how well or bad the next teamfight is going to go, right? If the teamfight goes south, and he ends up dying first. Before he dies, he needs to lock in that comeback, of course, at level 20. If the teamfight goes well, he might go for the upgraded ult. Who knows what he is going to go for. Shooting Star, as you said, for Taranda, by the way. Basic attacks have now the chance of triggering a fully talented Lunar Flare, Lunar Blaze, which is very dangerous. Look at that, though. Mercenaries coming in, minions as well. This is going to be another key push in the bottom lane.
My internet issues have returned. I'm attempting to get back to you, and then I will fix them in the break.
All right. It's all good. It's all good. For now, we're going to take a look at what the one is trying to do. They're desperately trying to find an opening in the defenses of SPT. Middle lane is pretty weak, so they could certainly try to go for a couple of towers. Their mercenaries are all taken right now. None of them are available, so it's pretty easy, actually, for SPT to predict like where their opponents are. Sorry, it's pretty hard because there's no objective ready. If there was a mercenary camp ready, the only mercenary camp available, that would be easy for them to predict.
I'm going to use this time where there is no objective to just fix it, because I know it's going to take me seconds.
Just go for it, man. Just go for it. I'll try to carry through. So, Now with that global come into play, that is the moment where SPT can go for all sorts of sneaky maneuvers, right? As long as they maintain vision of the bottom, as long as they have TheHaka ready there in time to defend, it's all going to be fine. Look at that, though. Double Luna Flare because of Shooting Star. That's one of those dangerous moments in which the CC can really turn around. TheHaka has returned to base. Soap decided it was enough. It was enough pressure already. Look at the mercenaries. Look at the minions. One of the One's members has to go back. And guess what? Since they don't have the globals, they can no longer reinforce this push. So smart play by SPT, keeping their opponents at bay and trying to gain control over the Shrines right now. Shrines are going to be so important with Falstad and TheHaka. They can truly get there in time. Now, the one they need to guard the bottom one. They should see the progress of top already and should realize, you know what? We need to be in the bottom, but they're scattered all over the map. They're probably just trying to deny the turn-in, grouping up in the middle. No more globals available, if I saw that correctly. Look at that. Shadowstalk actually to lay up and engage, to lay up an ambush, but it was discovered immediately.
I am back, by the way, and I'm on 6-6, which I believe was fine. Long-range drag, immediate cleanse. Dragon Arrow missing this time, and TheHaka is taken out so early, but Meng will be killed off in counter.
Yep, that was a 1-for-1 trade, a 4 versus 4 situation. Hanzo in trouble, gets interrupted from the jump over the wall. This is huge now. Melody C about to die as well. ZJZ is dead. Can Decker can keep Falstad alive? It's so important.
That Hinterland Blast was clutch, and the barrel roll even more clutch. Decade Potions keeping them both alive, 50% anti-heal and the Impale. And that is a 3-for-2 in favor of the One.
All right, no supports left on either side, which means the damage you've taken remains there. And I feel like CZH was a little bit abandoned by his teammates there. If one of those members had stayed closer to him, he would have gotten armor, he would have gotten cooldown reduction on his potions. As it is, though, he didn't get all those boons, he didn't get all those things to keep him alive, and he fell eventually. But I think this is basically just a stalemate. Without the members available, neither of the teams will probably have enough manpower to get control over both shrines.
We're going to see just the trade-off, like you say, with just Falstad and Garrosh available here. They're trying to make the most of the fact that they know Anubarak isn't here. Melody C trying to bait them to dive him so that Misaka can follow up. But in this case, the last couple fights have gone in favor of the One. Misaka has to be so careful where he stands. He's just going to walk past, quick Wrecking Ball to toss them out. And TheHaka is on his way to top. He needs to be quick, or Misaka has to be able to deny this Dragonite for long enough.
Hanzo's here now too.
Not going to have to be too long. Yeah, Hanzo is definitely going to be useful for this.
Yeah, Hanzo in his long-distance poke is very important. You know, TheHaka already in the top lane, gets that shrine back. Guys, the game is a nail-biter right now. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. Look at that Shadowstalk value. I'm not sure if Soap actually saw him. He's going to get interrupted. No, it misses. The Impale misses.
Very cheeky, and that's going to allow him to get a very quick Ultra trade. The Shrines keeping the One away from that Dragonite. They scout the Bruiser camp and go to just straight up invade this because they know TheHaka just burned his global, and they will take this with no trouble.
They will take this. That's actually a massive wave on the top lane. If you look at this, the One's minions already having the upper hand, already having the edge there with a big concave. By the same token, though, TheHaka pushed forth the bottom lane a little bit more. And keep in mind, there's a mercenary camp, and there's catapults marching towards it. Looks like they're trying to make something happen onto Anub. The stun connects, the burst is good, and Anubarak is down.
Down goes Anub, and SPT looking to try and make more happen here. They try to get to Hugo, but he's just out of range of everything. They turn it back around with that Lunar Flare, but lucky over the wall will escape. Now Hugo is going to get detonated.
And ZZH needs to keep a distance from that Kasi. She didn't even go for the Infinite Lightning. That could have been the kill. But now, the One is in complete disarray. It is a 2-for-0 trade. Malthael came back with that level 20, by the way. Keep that in mind. Only to die and feed again, potentially. No, he gets away to safety now. Or does he? Yes, he does.
They keep moving forward. 3 catapults, 2 siege giants. In the meantime, TheHaka grab a Dragonite. It will probably become a core very shortly as they begin to push forward. Good cleanup onto the mercenaries as Meng tries to sneak around from behind using that invisibility, but they move forward. Quick stun, and that is a last rites on Lucky. Great use of Ice Block by Meng.
They took the Dragonite. They didn't even push this all the way through, but the Dragonite is going to be, of course, so much more powerful than the other members could have been. There goes a Lornado to keep the enemy members at bay. The Dragonite is just right-clicking on the core, and Malthael in particular needs to apply that percentage damage. Is that late-night Dragonite going to be enough, though? It gets taken down so hard already.
It's a 25-minute Dragonite, but that armor reduction
Hit the core.
It's getting dropped pretty
Hit the
fast.
core.
88, 79. Dragonite on 19%, 60% on the core.
I don't think they can do it.
0 on the Dragonite. Soap is all alone on the core, gets an isolation, but gets absolutely blown up himself. And ZZH will absolutely fall here.
What are we watching right now? This is so dramatic. This game couldn't get any closer. Losing 3 team members here. The bottom keep already being weakened. Look at that. There's still catapults on the core. The shields are falling. I'm not sure if the one is actually realizing this. They need to turn around 36%. Is there still a catapult or was it cleaned off? Okay, it was cleaned off. They're good.
No, I assume so.
They're good.
36 is done. Okay. Melody C, I don't believe this is a build that he can just try and backdoor with, even with this low of a core.
Yeah.
You really kind of need those hammer gains to be able to have a chance on that. As we see Misaka going to try and hold the line. BFG, not BFG, sorry, Hinterland Blast is used, hits one, only gets a little bit of cooldown reduction. As such, Misaka looking for a toss-up onto Herher with that Wrecking Ball, but the damage onto the core, it's a full base race, and Uberak dives deep onto Lucky. Lucky will survive, but Lucky needs to drop the damage. Falstad inside the cocoon as the core goes down, and Kendrick, we have a 1-1.
I can't believe what happened in this.